If we did this podcast all Southern, it'd last maybe 17 hours.
Who knows what'd happen? We might sign a country deal.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Simon Whistler Show, joined by my co-pilot, Sam Myers.
That's me. How we doing, guys?
Sam, I got a question for you to begin the show. Last week, we discussed, at the end of the show, you were like, Simon, I'd appreciate it if you addressed me as Sam Myers on the air.
It is my name.
He wasn't so serious, right? He was like, can you just call me Sam Myers for branding? And I was like, for branding? You didn't even have a Twitter, dude. Did you get a Twitter since last week?
I would be lying if I told you I got a Twitter. It was more the fact that's my name. That's my name.
It is true. It is genuinely good for branding. I'm making fun of you, but it's a solid.
Well, no. You see, here's the thing. All right, I was given a long name. I'm Samuel Myers.
Yeah.
And the only reason for that was because if in the situation that I become a doctor, a lawyer, or some other serious profession, my mum and dad wanted me to have a serious name. I'm here, aren't
I? Dude, there are Sam Myers. I'm looking at your Twitter opportunities. I'm going to guess Sam Myers is probably taken.
I think I've got it.
You've got it?
I think so.
Then start plugging that. Follow Sam on Twitter at Sam Myers.
It might not be me.
Myers. That's awesome. Well, if there is a Sam Myers out there, you're welcome, Sam, for all those Twitter followers.
All those Twitter followers.
This is the show where we have fun with facts. We got some good stuff lined up today. What have we got coming up? Let me have a look at the episode plan. Oh, you got it up on the big screen.
Up on the big screen.
Solid. We got some stuff about Apocalypse Now, which, dude, I rewatched Tropic Thunder lately. I'll get into it when we really get into this topic today. That is a great movie.
It is. It's one of those ones that's not often spoken about. It's rather taboo, but in a lovely way.
Taboo, was it taboo? Because I'm like, when you're making fun of, well, there was blackface in it. There was like lots of drug use that was made a lot of fun of.
There was Tom Cruise just being
an
absolute G.
This was, I have Tom Cruise gets a lot of shit for being part of Scientology, but he's a bit of a legend. I think we have Tom Cruise either this week or next week.
Yeah.
I think it's next week. Next up today, we got Hermann Goering's brother.
That was a leap.
Dude, he's a legend though.
Yeah.
Like, did you read that?
I read what you sent me, and I look forward to sharing this with the people.
We got, you remember that kid who sold his kidney for an iPhone?
Idiot.
What happened to him? And then I think we're finishing up today. Is that the last one down there at the bottom? The Australian floating hotel that ended up in North Korea. And dude, look, with YouTube, if you mention North Korea, you're not going to make any money, but you are going to get some views.
Ooh.
So that's for you, YouTube algorithm. Scroll up to the top. Let's start with the first one.
Alrighty.
Because Apocalypse Now, right? I've seen this, but like a long time ago. I think I was maybe in my 20s, maybe at university. Everyone was like, you should see this Apocalypse Now movie. And basically, in this one, load that up. So it talks about what the strange making of Apocalypse Now. What's really interesting in here is about the dead bodies. So there's kind of this urban legend that there were dead bodies used in the making of Apocalypse Now and all of this stuff. It turns out, while that's not really true, I think it was the bodies that were hanging in the forest, people said, were actually, real dead bodies. They weren't.
But they very nearly were.
They very nearly were. And so I thought this is definitely an urban legend. But it turns out that basically, where is it in this article? Scroll down on there. Zoom in a little. Pinch and zoom, Sam.
Pinch and zoom.
I got terrible eyesight even with my glasses.
Here we go. Here we go. Rumors have been flying around about dead bodies on set. But Fredrickson discounted them as ludicrous.
Yeah, but this Fredrickson dude, I don't remember who he is, but they had like a guy who was doing their props, the prop master or whatever. He had been sourcing dead bodies from like medical schools, and then it turns out that's what they thought, and some of them were, I think. And then it turns out he had actually just been grave robbing these dead bodies.
No, I think the guy he'd been guessing them from had been grave robbing them.
Oh yeah, sorry, there's the guy in the middle. It wasn't the actual prop master for Apocalypse Now.
Let's not throw the prop master in jail for this. No, this is I mean, I could not believe the shenanigans that went down in the making of this film. This was unbelievable. Like, it was just mad. There was parties every night. There was dead bodies. I mean, and here we go. We've got it here. You guys are nuts. Where did these come from? Sorry, here we go. Then he was taken to the prop store, located behind a tent where everyone ate dinner, and inside was a row of cadavers all laid out. You guys are nuts. Where did these come from? We've got to get rid of them immediately. No, they'll be very authentic. We'll have them upside down in the trees hanging, which they in the end used extras. But I think he was very, very set on doing.
It did, yeah. Where was this filmed? Wasn't it filmed in like Indonesia?
I think Cambodia, I want to say.
No, I think it was Indonesia.
Could be.
It doesn't matter. But was that like just cheaper than getting extras to like get dead bodies or something? I guess it must have been because, that's how it was. But yeah, what you were saying about the parties and stuff, it seemed pretty crazy. And then, side fact about this, Marlon Brando, who plays, what's the name of the bad guy, the colonel who is up the river or whatever that they go to find, Colonel Krutz or probably not Krauts, but whatever. And Marlon Brando shows up on the set and he's supposed to play this like lean, mean fighting machine colonel who's gone rogue. And it turns out he's just super obese.
Mega obese.
He was
obese. So fat.
Did you? I think we had an extra fact about him later being super fat, right?
We did.
In a different role.
I've just found here it was filmed in the Philippines. There you go. So
sorry.
No, all good.
Close to Indonesia.
Close. Not far.
Not far.
But no, yeah, he turned up and he was completely out of shape.
Yeah.
Didn't know any of his lines. And at some point he decided to shave his head.
Yeah.
And so he just was a mess. And there's somewhere in here it says that at one point there was 900 people on set
waiting for him
while they read him the script.
It's crazy. the number of people who wait around on these big. Have you ever been in? You strike me as one of these guys who would do the extra thing. Have you ever been an extra?
You bitch.
No. Like, I mean, you're interested in, music and showbiz and all this kind of stuff. And it's a good way to make a few bucks.
I was an extra once in year 4. I came out of a school and I had to wrestle with my friend.
Wait, year 4? You were young.
I was young. I was paid £20 for 3 hours of work.
How old were you?
What was that, year 4? I was 10?
Oh yeah, year 4.
Year 4.
7, 8, 9.
Not 4th year, year 4.
That's pretty solid.
Literally
20 quid.
the only extra work I've ever done.
I was an extra in Captain America.
No, you weren't.
I was. I'm not
Shut
seeing
the front door. You were not. No way.
I definitely was. There's what's that sound? Do you hear that knocking sound?
Oh, sorry, that was me. That was my foot. I got excited. You mentioned Captain America. I was like, woo!
Because there's construction going on next door, and I was a little bit worried that they'd disturb our pod. Anyway, in Captain America, and there's this scene, the war ends, spoiler alert. There's the Second World War, and all these people are celebrating in Trafalgar Square, and there's like these planes flying overhead, and I was a policeman. In fact, there were probably hundreds of me. I was. They shut off the whole of Trafalgar Square. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning. The sun, had just risen. It was in the summer. And they get us in groups, and they're like, yeah, celebrate. And then they'd move us to somewhere else. And they'd be like, okay, celebrate here. And they'd move us to somewhere else and celebrate here. And then they'd like digitally stitch it all together so it would look like Trafalgar Square was full. But dude, relating it back to this about the 900 people waiting for Brando to get his shit together. There were, it wasn't 900, but there were 200 extras minimum. I made 150 quid that day. So if like something goes wrong, the costs are just phenomenal.
Well, to close a road, like to close
Trafalgar Square.
To close a highway is one thing. Like to close Trafalgar Square is that's unbelievable. I've always wondered actually how they do those sorts of films. Like what was the one, the zombie one? 28 Days Later, when there's the famous walking along the bridge and there's just no one in London.
Yeah, I thought it was digitally done.
Was it?
Didn't they digitally? And they had to hand through like everything. I mean, now they can just use computers and they'll, I think even Photoshop does it. If you give it like 10 images with people, it'll work out where where there aren't supposed to be people or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so yeah, people wait. Marlon Brando, I think he was a bit of a dick.
A proper dick.
Yeah, because he got super uppity because everyone loved him it must have been The Godfather that really, he was big time anyway.
He did Streetcar Named Desire. He was a heartthrob.
Really?
Who did he play? Stanley something.
This was before he got enormous.
Before he was massive, muscly wise. Then he got really fat, really big.
And in Superman, he played Jor-El. Is it Jor-El, Superman's father? Doesn't matter. And he didn't learn his lines again.
Mm.
So people were like reading him his lines, and he was kind of just doing it on, they'd shout a line to him. He'd read it. And he was just like, listen, I'm Marlon Brando. I do what I want.
Do what I want.
It's like, dude.
But do you know who else does that? Who's surprisingly bad at speaking English? And that's what's his name? I forgot his name. Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan
Really?
is surprising. His English is surprisingly bad, and they literally stand there with cards with his lines on them.
Wow.
And they like drop the cards and like saying, "This is your next line," and like sound it out for him.
Why is he so famous then?
Oh, because he's an absolute amazing
Martial artist?
Well, he's a martial artist. He's also an opera singer. Did you know that? Not just opera. He studied at an opera school.
No, bring it. YouTube.
Yeah, no. I'm serious. He sang. Here you go. I will YouTube it. He sang the songs for Mulan in Chinese.
What?
Yeah. You know this?
Like the Chinese version.
The Chinese version of
Mulan.
Here we go. This is gonna blow your mind,
Dude. Jackie Chan. Don't play it for too long because I don't want to get any copyright claims.
No.
But just give me a few seconds.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, what does that mean?
There is a problem with YouTube.
Oh God.
No, YouTube. We're lying. There's no problem.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Here we go. So
Jackie Chan sings opera.
Singing. Here we go. Like he's got like 8 platinum albums.
That's insane.
Here we go. Let's go. A Whole New World.
Oh no, this is awesome. It's only got 10,000 views.
Like
what's up, Jackie? Skip ahead.
We'll skip it.
Okay, stop it. I was expecting more like, like. But no, this is good. This is more singing rather than. Exactly.
No. He went to an opera school, which was joined with a martial arts school, and
of course.
Yeah. And no, he's a massive recording artist in China, like huge. He's got platinum albums all over the place in China.
Shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, dude, you added something to the notes. Go back to the notes page.
Yes, I did.
What's this with Richard Attenborough wanting to cast Fat Marlon Brando as Gandhi?
Yes. So
Marlon Brando's. Oh, dude, and also, hang on, tell your story. Then I want to talk about Ben Kingsley.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So basically, I'm sure most people know that Ben Kingsley got. What was it? Did he win an Oscar for playing Gandhi?
Yeah, he did. It was like his most famous role.
Most famous role. He was incredible. However, there were a few famous actors that were considered for the role. One of them was Fat Marlon Brando, straight out of Apocalypse Now.
Wait, who's that on the right? Isn't that Richard Attenborough?
That's Marlon Brando.
Kind of looks like Richard Attenborough.
No, it looks like Richard Attenborough because he's wearing a white shirt, his typical famous look from Jurassic Park.
That's true. He does look like the guy from. He looks more like the guy from Jurassic Park rather than Richard Attenborough.
He does a bit. All right, here we go. So hang on, I just want to say, here you go. So the archives show a who's who of acting legends, all white, considered for the role, including Alec Guinness, Al Pacino, Albert Finley, and Dustin Hoffman. Which
is weird. Like, Marlon Brando was also considered. I kind of see him in my mind as that previous generation of actors before these chaps. But I guess that's not really true.
I suppose. Well,
when did he die?
I'm actually not sure how much older he was than those actors. But
carry on.
Yeah. No, but anyway. So basically, he was quite seriously considered not as like to play skinny little tiny Gandhi. But looking like this, like he'd come straight out of Apocalypse Now.
Well, straight out of Apocalypse Now, where he was supposed to be playing a muscular guy.
Exactly.
Sorry, I meant to say before. They wanted to film him like he was like, you got to film me in the shadows.
In the shadow, I'm going to wear baggy clothes, and you're going to film my shoulders and upwards. Yeah,
my face only. Zoom in.
I'm going to hit them with some real emotion. But no,
dude, Marlon Brando was good looking back in the day, though.
Oh no, he was a heartthrob. But no, and yeah. So
see, that's Richard Attenborough.
That's Richard Attenborough, who
he does look like him a little bit in that photo.
Of course, is an Attenborough. The Attenboroughs, God, they were some successful pair of brothers, weren't they?
Still are. David Attenborough's still alive.
I love that man.
He's a cool man.
Oh, he's amazing. Yeah, there you go. That's Richard Attenborough.
Okay.
Doesn't really look too much like
No,
Marlon
no.
Brando.
There he doesn't.
No,
So,
but,
carry on.
Anyhow, no, I just thought
There
I'd bring
he
it to the
is.
attention. That's the heart.
That's handsome.
That's who they
Brando.
wanted to play Gandhi.
Yeah.
But of course, it eventually went to Ben Kingsley, or Sir Ben, as he likes to be called.
Wait, were you telling me that he demands to be called
Yes.
Sir Ben? Is that a thing?
That's actually a
How
thing.
did you find that out?
I've got a friend who is who's a makeup artist, and she does like films, big films, and she was working with him, and every single time it was Sir Ben, please. And he always not demanded, but requested to be called Sir Ben. And even Dame Maggie Smith, made a nice little joke about it. And she was on Graham Norton.
Yeah.
And that's a talk show in the UK for those that don't know it. And she said, "No, I'm Maggie. I'm Maggie. I'm not Sir Ben."
It is a bit weird. So Ben Kingsley, right? I didn't know he wasn't white.
What?
Like, I mean, I'd seen him in movies, and I guess I'd never really put it together. But he's half Indian, or he's half ethnically Indian. Like, I think it was his dad is like an African Indian, and then his mum's British.
Was that right?
Yeah, but I kind of, well, you're laughing at me like that I didn't know he was white, or because you think he is white?
Well, I'd never thought of
him as anything other than English, right?
I think he's an English actor, white English actor. But
which is right, because I thought it's a bit weird, still, because this article was talking about how they decided to cast Kingsley, and previously all these white actors were considered. I was like, wait, hang on, is Ben Kingsley not white?
He's white. Let's see.
It turns out, yeah, like I say, his dad's African Indian, and he was raised in the UK and everything. So actually, he was like,
Kingsley was born Krishna Pandit Banji.
Absolutely.
My goodness.
So there you go. I thought it was a bit of a weird choice to have him as Gandhi, but now
he's
you do.
actually the perfect Gandhi.
He's the perfect Gandhi.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Pretty solid, right?
So comes from Indian roots, educated in the UK, moved back to India.
Did he move back to India?
No, he didn't move back to India, but he did for the movie.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Banging film. No, really.
I've never seen it.
I've seen most of it. I have to go back and watch it.
It was that banging that
it was
you
that
skipped
banging.
the end.
I watched it when I was younger. It was don't judge me.
Banging. So that's the Ben.
That's the Ben.
I think we could just call him Ben because he's not here.
Look. Even I was gonna say that Wikipedia's got it wrong, but actually it hasn't. Sir Ben.
Sir Ben Kingsley. KBE.
KBE.
A friend of mine's dad was a knight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
He didn't request to be called Sir Al though. Which,
Sir Al
should be a bit weird.
It does. It's one of those titles that
Closer to the mic. Come on, no one's going to be able to hear you.
Sorry, it's one of those titles that does just make you feel powerful though.
Yeah, dude, can you be made a knight if you live abroad? I don't think you can. I think we did a video about like how you get. We made a video on my channel today. I found out a YouTube channel I do about knighthoods and stuff and the benefits that you get. And generally, there's no real benefits other than the fact you're a sir.
It's vanity. Yeah.
Well, it's vanity. It's also like you did something cool.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if you go to university and get a doctorate or whatever, it's cool. It's like, okay, you earned it. You don't buy. Can you buy? There was that honors for cash thing a few years ago, but I don't think they were giving away like knighthoods.
Actual knighthoods.
Yeah. But one of the major things people were saying, like,
Harry's making money on the side.
yeah, selling knighthoods. The one thing was like reservations in restaurants. Like if you're sir, it's like, yeah, they'll find you a table.
It's like people that have famous people's names. They can always get a space in a restaurant. You call up and you say it's Morgan Freeman here. You'll always get a restaurant reservation.
I saw a documentary about this a while ago, or like not a documentary. It wasn't an interesting enough topic. It was like one of those TV shows on at 9:45 on a Wednesday night,
yep.
And it was about people who it was British and they had famous British names. And one guy was saying he could never get taxis because his name was Tony Blair.
No,
and he'd phone up for a taxi and it'd be like, yeah, Tony Blair, and they'd be like, all right, very funny. Although I don't remember, this was decades ago, but why not just use a fake name?
Yeah.
Just use a fake name.
It's like, I love that joke from Hot Fuzz, this is Mr. P.I. Staker, haha, piss taker, and then he has an interview with P.I. Staker. Peter Ian Staker. Poor guy.
You want to talk about Albert Goering?
Let's go to Albert Goering. Let's do that. There we go.
So this dude, if you bring him up, also bring up his picture. I'm looking at it on my laptop now. Bring it up on the big screen.
There we go.
This guy's picture. Zoom in on that. He already looks like a legend. He looks like Walt Disney, but
Crossed with
somehow
Salvador
even
Dali.
cooler. Dude, that's exactly it. He looks like a cross between Walt Disney and Salvador Dali. Am I just terrible identifying people's images? Because I was just like, what's his face? Richard Attenborough looks like Marlon Brando. But this guy, he was based, so obviously he's the brother of Hermann Goering, who's kind of the architect of the Holocaust. This guy who was, what does it say? German engineer, businessman, and the younger brother of, was he the architect of the Holocaust? Maybe that was some other dude.
He was. Yeah, he was.
He was also head of the German Luftwaffe. And obviously his brother, leading member of the Nazi party. So this guy, they come from the same backgrounds, all of this stuff. They have this privileged upbringing, all the stuff goes on, blah, blah, blah. We actually I made a biographics video about Hermann Goering. He's a proper dick. Like, really also, not just satisfying himself and his own power, but also, like, a really, racist and an unpleasant person.
One of those proper bad eggs. Proper one.
Yeah, so basically, also you see this picture of him, like, smoking a cigarette from that cool cigarette holder.
Let's go back to that.
Wikipedia describes him as he acquired his godfather's character of bon vivant, which wasn't a phrase I was particularly familiar with, but it basically just means someone who enjoys the good life.
Yep.
So it's like smoking cigarettes out of cigarette holders, drinking too much, eating too much.
What are you doing? I'm being a bon vivant.
Anyway, he lives this unremarkable life. He's a bit of a filmmaker. But then the Nazis come to power. And while his brother's like, yeah, I'm super into Nazism. Let's get it, that's pretty awesome. He's like, no, I despise this. This is a terrible idea. And there's all of these kind of, Wikipedia says it itself. And I find Wikipedia will often include anecdotal stories. But here they're like, there are anecdotal stories and we're not going to include them, which is kind of nice because they're just anecdotal. But basically, some of them are like, okay, but he's like super helping the Jews and all of this stuff. But here's one. He says, Albert is reported to have joined a group of Jewish women that had been forced to scrub the street. The SS officer in charge inspected his identification and ordered the group's scrubbing activities to stop after realizing he could be held responsible for allowing Hermann Goering's brother to be publicly humiliated. And Hermann Goering...
Genius.
Yeah, but Hermann Goering knows all this shit's going on. And he's like, oh, God damn it, Albert. Can't you just be a good Nazi? Like, just fall into line. Nazism's great.
Do what you got to do. And I think that's beautiful because he's not done any actual sabotage. He's done nothing wrong. There's nothing could be fought back from on that.
Well, so far. And then he goes to concentrate. Yeah, he goes to concentration camps and he's like, hey, I need workers. And they're like, for what? And he's like, it doesn't matter. I'm Goering. I'm a Goering. You know my brother, old Hermie. Like, you know him. He's your boss.
Well, it's a bit of a Schindler situation. A bit, sort of. Yeah.
Dude, Schindler's a character.
Yeah.
Did a biographics video on my biography channel about him. This guy, the movies and stuff, no, they don't. But it's like his playboy lifestyle and his self-servingness was like super hardcore. Yeah. Like he was really into like, this is for me.
Did they play it down in the
looking
movie?
Out for number one a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's great in the end. And he's like, okay, we'll save all these people. Let's do that. But he was kind of, he was a bit of a Nazi and all of this stuff.
Yeah, well, he was, wasn't he? He was. And, I never realized all the lifts, the Schindler like elevator lifts are still around. Like, they're all his. That's
what do you mean? Oh, is that?
Yeah,
no.
God, no, what do you call it?
Schindler lifts are by the Schindler company?
Are by the Schindler company, yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
There you go.
I went to, I wanted to go, I went to the location of Schindler's factory in Krakow in Poland, and where, his Jews were working. And yeah, I showed up and there was a huge queue and like, I've made a tactical error. Apparently they only let so many people in per day and you need to book ahead and all of this stuff. And I should have looked it up. So I didn't actually go in the end, but I would like to go.
Oh.
I'd go back and see that. Anyway, his activities escalate. And so he'd just show up. He'd take these people out of concentration camp and he'd say, I got to take them to the Skoda Works in Czechoslovakia, I think was one of the places. Mm-hmm. And then he'd just let them out. He'd drive away from the concentration camp and he goes, you're free. Make a run for it.
Here's a car.
Go for it.
That's incredible. It's incredible how two brothers can just be so different. Like, have such differing political ideas.
And it's not like they were separated at birth or
No.
anything.
Brought up in the same family, the same house, everything. It's absolutely mad.
Yeah. And it's like nature versus nurture, but then their nature and their nurture are super similar, but one of them's just a dick and one of them isn't.
And what happened to him? Did he?
Dude, I don't know. Of course, we got to talk about what happened to him, but it's like, oh, okay. Because your brother was Hermann Goering, he's basically shunned just because his name is Goering. And then, he finds work as a writer and translator. He lives in a modest flat. And he grew up rich, remember? So all that's now gone.
Yeah. Because, of course, he was having problems, wasn't he, because of the name?
Yeah,
so
just because of the name.
Just because of the name. Like, did you know, little side note, Hitler's family have a deal that
not to have kids.
Yeah, they're killing off the bloodline, and there's 2 uncles I think left, and 2 cousins, and they've said when we die that'll be the end of the Hitler bloodline.
Yeah.
Because they've always had the same problem that like because of their name they are shunned to this day.
Didn't they move to America? Am I imagining that?
I think there was always the question: did they move to South America?
No, well, the Nazis moved to South, but these weren't war criminals. These weren't Nazis. They were just people who unfortunately happened to be related to Adolf Hitler.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm not sure.
If we're not sure, and we can't look it up right now.
We will look into that and cover it at a later date.
Yeah, we could do a follow up on. Well, I was looking into like the Nazi families, right? Like because they had kids and stuff, and amongst all these kids, so who was it? Was it his kid? I made a note about this. As children of Nazis. Oh yeah, so there were kind of 3 notable children of the Nazis. Did I not put a link to them? Was his kid cool?
Was his kid cool?
Oh, come on. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But they basically, one of them, I don't think it was Goering's kid, because Goering, I don't want to say Goering was too much of a legend. What's his actual name? Albert Goering was a legend. Yeah. His kid, I think, I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. One of them turned out to be like a far right and is still alive or really recently died and was like a Nazi apologist her whole life. Is an apologist the person who's, says it was good? Because she was like, yeah, Nazism was awesome. My father's legacy should be restored. And it's like, your father was like a leading war criminal. Really? This is the line you want to go for?
You should be put away.
Yeah, and so she got involved with all sorts of far-right activities. There was one person who just never talked about it. And the other one, I think it was Albert Speer, because he was an architect. Albert Speer's kid became a notable architect in his own right and like led a pretty good, non-Nazi was like non-Nazi life.
Well, it's I think the thing is you've got to escape that void of
I feel like one of the first things I would do,
change your name.
You change your name. If there was like John Whistler, my grandfather, who was a war criminal, I'd be like, guess what? Better change my name.
I'll be John Yorner.
John anything but Whistler.
All right, change your name, change your face, change your hair, change your profession.
I came up with a random name of John for my grandfather's name, and then I realized, it's actually John.
Actually, John. No, that's oh god, that's my grandpa's name.
It was that whole generation, bunch of Johns.
John and Babs, John and Barbara. There you go.
I think his name was. He has like 4. He was dead before I was born, but I think he had like 4 names.
Did he triple barrel them?
Well, no, it was like, what the fuck is it? What's my uncle? I think my uncle has the same name as him, and it's like, I won't say their full names to respect their privacy, but it was like, they always used their second names, and then they had, and my mum as well had 4
Oh, wow,
names.
okay, nice.
It's weird. I have 3. You have a middle name?
I have a middle name.
What's your middle name?
James.
Ooh.
Samuel James Myers. No.
SJM. Dude, let's talk about something a little more cheery. It's I was gonna say it's New Year's soon. It's not.
It's not.
It's not. It's October.
Don't be that guy.
Have you heard of this? Open up that link.
Right.
Because I remember I was a kid, and we played this exercise in creative writing. I was been like 9 years old or whatever, and it was like, hey, you've got one day where you can do anything you want. You got Tuesday, anything. Money is no object. And it was a super interesting divide down the class. We must have been like, we weren't 9. It was like first year of secondary school, so 11 or 12.
Or could you see the dreamers and the realistic?
No, it's gender divide down the middle.
Okay.
Because all of the girls were like, oh, you know, I'd go on a date with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Nice.
And all of the guys were like, I'll buy loads of shit. And one guy he was so smart. Like, 11-year-old came up with this. It was like, yeah, so what we'd do is we'd do all of this and buy all of this stuff, because this is what 11-year-olds want. We'd buy a helicopter. Yeah. And then he says, it gets to the end of the day, we jump on a plane, fly it all the way around, and get like 10 more hours. And I'm like,
That's the old ask a genie for another wish kind of wish.
Dude. Yeah. Like, I'm not smart enough to think of that, but this guy was on it. Which is weird because he was kind of dumb. Anyway, this company does what my friend wanted to do as an 11-year-old, not buy all the stuff, but essentially you celebrate. You start off, you fly, or maybe you live in, where is it in Australia?
So
Sydney.
Starts in Sydney.
You start in Sydney. You celebrate New Year's. I think it's till 2 o'clock in the morning.
There's a big sexy party with people. So it's a big sexy party. You're on like a rooftop terrace. It's like a whole. It seems to be like a whole event. It's not just a flight. It is an event. So there's a big party set up in one place.
Dude, if it was just a flight, I mean, how much is it?
It's
the articles in the
3.7 million rand, which is South African rand, which is we've got it
250,000 American dollars. So, and this is from last year. So this service
so
just
this is up to date,
started.
yeah?
So it's all up to date.
There we go.
So for this, I mean, because if it was just the flight, yeah, all the dudes are going to be busy and stuff. Like, so finding a pilot who's going to fly you on New Year's is going to be tough. Or like getting a flight at that time of year is going to be expensive. But you could do it for a few grand. And also, private jets.
Definitely. Sure.
Private jets are expensive, but they're not $250,000 for a 10-hour flight.
Most ridiculous purchase ever.
Yeah.
Private jets.
Ridiculous or awesome.
Oh, awesome. I want to buy a jet.
Oh, dude, I don't know.
That would have been on my 11-year-old list.
It's on my 32-year-old list. Although I was taking a flight back from London and it was delayed like 3 hours. Oh, for God's sake. This is one of those things. It doesn't matter if you're like economy, business, or first. If your flight's delayed 3 hours, your flight's delayed 3 hours. You're just hanging out in a nicer environment if you've got a more expensive ticket. With your own plane, you get to leave wherever you want. So I Googled, like, how rich do you have to be to have your own plane? You know what the average, and then I was like, you know what the average net worth of someone who has their own plane is?
$150 million.
You are so far off. $1 billion.
$1 billion.
$1 billion to have your own plane.
Actually, I believe that. Yeah.
It's mad expensive.
Yeah.
To be fair, most of them are like corporate jets and stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, just executives fly around on them. But if you're a rock star and although rock stars have private jets and they're not worth $1 billion.
I think they did. I'm not sure like rock stars live in that same world of the 80s rock star anymore.
Well, it's not like they got poorer. Wait, you think they got poorer? Like Michael Jackson, Prince, Paul McCartney.
Oh, but they are like the richest people
They're billion.
ever.
They're
like,
billion.
They're
Was Michael Jackson a billionaire? I don't think Jackson was a billionaire.
I don't know if he was a billionaire. He probably was a billionaire.
Paul McCartney's a billionaire. Only just.
And a great musician as well. So
yeah.
Better throw that out. He's a great musician.
Also, for a guy who's worth $1 billion, terrible businessman. At least he was in his early days. You know he lost the entire catalogue to the Beatles?
No.
Yeah, he sold it to Michael Jackson. I got a video.
What?
Yeah, dude. I got a video coming up on this, so I'm not going to spoil it. If you're watching this, go subscribe to my channel Business Blaze, because I do a whole episode about Michael Jackson buying the Beatles back catalogue. So Paul McCartney didn't even own the songs that he wrote anymore. Yeah, dude. Madness. Madness. Shit, how did we get here? Private jets.
Private jets.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, yeah, definitely can't get one of those.
Not doing that.
But, you know, it's still on my list.
If I'm allowed to take a quick aside,
hit me.
Did you know that that's actually how Richard Branson started Virgin Atlantic? He was. I think I might have told you this off air once.
He was on an island and a flight got cancelled, right?
No, he was in America, and because he lives on an island. He lives on
Necker Island.
That's
right.
In the British Virgin Islands. And his flight got cancelled, and he walked around and asked the different companies if they had a Boeing 747 available, and then went round and asked each person that was meant to be on the flight, "Do you want to come? If you pay me $150, I'll take you." And
this is epic.
Yeah, it's amazing. And they were like, "Yeah, okay, sure." And then some old lady came up to him afterwards and said, "Do you know, tighten up the service a bit, and you make a really good airline." And he went, "You know what? Okay." He tried it.
This is the heart of a businessman.
Oh, he's an entrepreneur like no other. Like he's a what do they call it? He's not a chronic entrepreneur. What was he? A serial entrepreneur. He just makes businesses. Crazy.
Have you read Losing My Virginity?
Yeah, amazing book.
A great book. You know he's written a new one.
Yes. What is it?
Finding My
Virginity. Losing My Virginity
like
again. The second entry.
Yeah.
I think that was what he was originally going to call it. Losing My Virginity again. The second entry. And then he had to like PG it up a little bit because they wouldn't let him release.
Can't get away with what he got away with in the 90s.
Exactly.
Anyway,
let's bring it back. Here we go.
Yeah. So yeah, essentially, then they fly you on this Gulfstream G550, which is an absolutely baller private jet. They say it's one of the most popular because it's the most epic.
Look at that.
Although this is like an understated one, I would say.
Yes.
This is,
I see no gold.
well, also those chairs don't look rad comfy. But the G550, these planes, and that carpet on that one.
Yeah, here we go. Sorry.
Viewers just listening, it looks a bit like,
Imagine old Vegas.
yeah.
After it's been, like, I don't know if anyone's been to Vegas, but basically imagine every hotel you've ever been into.
Yeah.
That's the floor.
Solid. And I would say it's almost the rest. This looks like a medium range hotel.
Yes.
Like a Premier Inn or something.
Premier Inn, yeah.
Also, and the seats look like weak business class seats.
Yes. And this is definitely MDF. This is not pure oak. Look at that.
But normally they're a little bit nicer kitted out. But I mean, also when you're spending like whatever 40 million on a plane, spend some money. Come on. Do the interior properly.
Exactly.
Anyway, so they put you on this plane and they fly you to what this article describes, the City of Angels, also known as Los Angeles, which is kind of Los Angeles is okay. So it's all right.
Yeah. It's got good beaches. Let's say that. It's got good beaches. I like the gym on the beach. That bit's fun.
Muscle Beach. The weather's good. They fly you there. And you get off and you celebrate again. How do you feel about this?
And
by the way, you can take 8 people, so it's actually it's
quite
only 30 grand.
All right.
Only
there you
30
go.
grand.
That makes a bit more sense. Well,
How do you feel about it?
Do you know what I feel about this? I think, as you said, you could do it on your own, much cheaper.
Yeah.
Without.
But you're not partying in the sky.
I suppose.
Or the alternative, the spa package. Although who would go for that?
No, it's I don't know. You know, I don't love this. I think it's a great idea, but I think New Year's is something to be celebrated once, like through out and out, like you go for it and then you die for the next 2 days. I don't know if I could do, like, flying takes it out of you. Have you ever noticed that when you do a long flight? Like,
yeah, dude, it's called jet lag.
Jet lag, and I suppose, like, if you're already drunk from your party in Sydney, you're gonna get there and you're gonna be like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. I'm going for avocado and...
And look, if you're on a private jet and you're not getting drunk, what's going on?
Yeah, what's the point?
Yeah.
And then you get there and you're so tired from all your partying that you've been going for 25 hours or however long.
I fully agree. New Year's parties, I'm such an old man in my heart. I mean, I'm getting older, but it gets to 12 and I'm like, all right,
done.
Jolly good, bedtime.
Love to see you all, and like good luck for the rest of the year. We'll catch up later. Exactly. I'm sort of the same.
Right. And this just sounds like a nightmare of, okay, well, it gets to around 2:00 in Sydney. I'm getting, my hangover is already coming because I stopped drinking like after the second bottle of champagne or whatever. And then I got to get on a plane and drink more.
It's like Groundhog Day. It's like Groundhog Day on New Year's Eve. Like that's
yeah.
I go for it on Christmas. I'm not a big New Year's Eve person. Like I know, some people wait all year for New Year's Eve to come so that they can have a proper party. And I don't get it. Everywhere's busy. There's fireworks everywhere, which admittedly are cool for a bit. And then when they're sort of,
it's that slower burn.
Yeah, it's
and
the
I
mulled wine kind of.
And I'm always like I'll drink almost every day, like a glass of wine or a second glass of wine, but I rarely get drunk.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's the right way to be.
Yeah. Well, maybe, I don't know. What's the science on that?
I don't know.
It's like my
liver agrees.
It's like doesn't really get drunk, ruins liver because he drinks every day. Who knows? Anyway, this is this. Yeah.
Well, this is available for those that are interested. So, I mean,
what's the name of this company? You want to sponsor an episode? Let us know.
What's the name of the company? Let's check.
I would do it for the experience. I'd probably sleep on the jet though.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest. I've done New Year's in Sydney.
Ooh, fancy. That's cool.
And it's great.
Did you live in Australia for
I lived
a while?
in Australia for a year.
Oh, that's
yeah, I really,
rad.
really enjoyed it. It was lovely, actually. I do recommend living in Sydney. It's like a massively high quality of life. There's avocados everywhere. You can't look past avocados.
Are they wildly expensive? Because I mean, well, you can get avocados here, but they're just like what, 40, 50 crowns for $2, $3.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, $2, $3. Yeah.
And I feel like Australia's great because I assume they grow them there and stuff, right? Well, I don't know if they're everywhere.
I would assume they do. Yeah, I never worked or anything on like an avocado farm, but it's but no, I found like a smashed avocado on toast is upwards of $14, $10 to $14.
Bloody hell!
Yeah, like,
Australian, which is
Aussie
what,
dollars,
10,
which is about 10
American.
Yeah,
But the minimum wage there is mad high,
or
right?
100 Canadian.
It's like $25 or something. An
Yeah,
hour.
when I was working as a waiter, it was $19 per hour, and then on public holidays, it would be double time and a half.
As a waiter?
As a waiter, it was $50 an hour.
Double time and a half?
Yeah, $50 an hour on public holidays.
Holy
It's
shit.
mental. Like people that work there, like turning signs for construction, earn the most they've ever earned in their life doing that. Like it's mental.
Why?
Because
I mean, this construction guys.
Oh no, it's just a very well paid job. Construction in Australia is a really high paid job. Like they've
But you're not even constructing anything. You're turning a sign.
no, but you're working in construction. You get to wear one of the shiny overalls, and like things
This
like
is so weird.
what?
It's just, this is a no skill job.
Yeah. Like I had a friend. He was a Sparky. He was an electrician.
Sparky.
A Sparky. He was an electrician, and he moved there. And he got very, very lucky. He wasn't qualified for the job at all, but he got a job working in a coal mine, like looking after the lights and everything. And he rose up to be one of the managers there. And he's on something ridiculous, like $500,000 a year or something. It's mental, like the amount of money that you are paid in Australia. But living there is really expensive.
Yeah.
So
and the exchange rate's insane.
Yeah, and the sharks are big.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Dude, load up the next one. I want to talk about the kid who sold his kidney to get an iPhone. Did you pick up this story?
I read this, and this
This
is
like 3-4
saddening.
years.
Actually, it's a life lesson, I think, for everyone.
How many years ago was this? When was the original? Zoom in on that, dude. You got to zoom in. I can't see shit.
Sorry, mate. Here we go.
Zoom.
2009.
No. That's just a random operation. This is just stock bullshit, surely, because they're not going to have a photo of the guy having an illegal operation. Scroll up to the top.
No, not there. Here we go. Hang on, let's go down.
17-year-old boy. And how old is he now? So he was 17 when he did it. 2011.
There you go. All right.
Okay. So I thought this was an urban legend. I really thought this is just one of those things you hear or maybe I did read about it in the news back in the day, but then you forget you read about it in the news. And it's just so insane that you assume someone must have just told you this in a pub being like, oh man, did you hear about the Chinese kid who sold his kidney like on the black market and he bought an iPhone 4 or whatever because he wanted it so bad. I think it was an iPhone 4.
It was, yeah, iPhone 4 and an iPad 2.
Didn't he buy? I thought it was 2 iPad 2s.
I think it was one iPad 2. It was an iPad 2.
And now this technology, I'm fairly sure I've got an iPhone 4 just in a drawer somewhere here. And you know what I do have as well?
An iPad 2.
No, both my kidneys.
Oh.
Bring the Oscar back. Oh, you're loading up the second one.
The second one, because the second one's later on. So
yeah, that's right.
There's more details in here.
Okay, so essentially, he did sell it. He sold it on the undergrounds, and he got like $4,000 or $3,500 for it. And also, he got ripped off because the black market price of a kidney is way higher than that. And
well, I think the ring of people that kind of organized it for him took a massive cut out of it.
Bingo.
Massive cut.
They took all the money. This guy lost his kidney, and he was a poor Chinese, like provincial Chinese dude. And shortly after the operation, and they don't, like, this was followed up with at the time, but now it's just like an update like 8 years later about what happened to this kid. Shortly after the operation, actually, he got an infection. There was, and they say, the article speculates that it might have been due to poor post-operative care. And I'm like, yeah, like you had the operation probably in the back of a van somewhere. Of course it was poor post-operative care, because you know who doesn't suffer from terrible infections after kidney operations? Most people who have kidney operations.
This is a real picture.
Oh my God, hang on, wait, scroll up. Why do I need a second kidney? One is enough. Dude, I'll tell you
Said
why.
no healthy person ever.
I'll tell you why you need a second kidney. Because when you get an infection that destroys your other kidney, well, you don't have any.
What?
It's good. Like, I mean, if a family member needed a kidney, I would absolutely donate my kidney to them.
Yeah.
Or to, are you aware of the kidney swap system?
No.
Oh, this guy won a Nobel Economics Prize for this.
Okay.
Which is essentially, so say I want to give you a kidney, right?
That's nice of you.
Say you've got kidney failure and I'm like, I'll give you one of my kidneys, Sam. And we go to the hospital and they're like, bad news. Turns out you're not compatible.
Yeah.
Not a surprise. So what I can do is say, I want to donate my kidney to Sam. So they've got a system. Well, they'll find someone who I'm compatible with. They'll take my kidney and give it to them. And you get a credit for a kidney from that system.
That's amazing.
To get, right? The guys who came up with this won a Nobel Prize for that. Because it was just,
that's amazing.
no one had come up with this.
That's like a genius idea.
Absolutely genius. And it solved this whole, I mean, there are still people waiting for kidneys, of course, but it was a huge revelation to come up with this kidney database. And I'm like, that's incredible.
That's just
absolutely
that
incredible.
boggles the mind.
Right?
That's incredible. I love that. No, that's I've never heard of that before. Ever.
Anyway. This wasn't this dumbass.
Yeah.
He gives his kidney away.
Look at that
Guys,
scar.
For those who are listening by audio, that's got to be a 25, 30 stitcher.
Jesus. I've never
Absolute
seen anything
monster.
like that. That's horrible.
What do you think?
That's him. Wang Shankun.
Dude, yeah, that's him. Yeah, so now he's basically bedridden for the rest of his life.
Yeah, what is it? He had caused him to develop renal deficiency, which has led
basically
to
kidney failure.
Yeah, infection due to unsanitary setting of where it took place, and one by one, his organs are basically just decaying and shutting down. And
Wait, I thought he was okay. Other than
he's bedridden. He's bedridden.
Yeah, but his other organs are all right because he's on dialysis.
No. Hang on. I'm
Wait,
pretty
really?
sure I read this. Hang on.
Did I miss that?
Hang on. His family was awarded.
Mr. Wang allegedly sought. Yeah. We'll get into the conversation in a minute. But he allegedly sought the new iPhone to show off to his friends.
Well, here you go. So hang on. When I was on the internet, I had a kidney agent send me a message saying that selling a kidney can give me $20,000.
Yeah. He ended up with 3.5.
He ended up with 3.5. Yeah, that's terrible. So yeah, 9 people were arrested in connection to the case, and 5, including surgeons who harvested his kidney, were jailed in 2012. It's a horrible word, isn't it? Harvest the kidney.
Harvested. You know that thing about waking up in the bath of water, ice water, with a note saying, call an ambulance, we harvested your kidney? Do you not know this urban legend?
Is that an urban legend, or is it? It looks like it could be real.
No. Or like, you hear it like the random business traveler wakes up in the hotel hotel bath full of ice after being drugged and he's missing a kidney. It's never happened. Even at least in the States, which was, it's a fairly big sample size. The National Kidney Foundation, or whatever it's called, put out a notice saying, hey, if anyone's had their kidney stolen in this way, please write to us. No one has. There's this never happened. Dude, so I don't think his other organs are failing.
No,
I just
they're
think
not.
he's bedridden.
Sorry, I misread. Here you go. So 8 years on, the 25-year-old is now bedridden for life after his remaining organ failed.
Remaining kidney.
You see, that was the
trips you up.
Yeah, the word organ.
Do better, Sam. Come on.
Sorry, well, organ can mean
You don't want to be spreading lies.
You don't want that
about...
organ to fail.
I don't believe you want any of your organs to fail. Anyway, bright side, his family and him did get $300,000 in compensation. That's a lot of iPhones. It's like 300 iPhones. That's a lifetime supply.
Ugh.
I really hope they at least got him a new iPhone.
I hope they gave him a subscription. He just gets the new iPhone every time it comes out. It shows dedication to the brand. That's for sure. But
I don't think in a good way though, dude. So that was that. What I thought was an urban legend turned out to be absolutely true and mega depressing.
Well, I love these urban legends that turn out to not be urban legends, even though that's quite sad. It's however I think it leaves us. It's a bit of a fable. It leaves us all with a moral. Don't sell your kidney for iPhones.
Don't.
Yeah.
How are we doing for time today? We got a couple more stories. Look on the recording over there. What's it saying?
Where are we here?
Time for a couple more stories, you think?
Yeah, I think we've got time.
Cool. What are we at?
Say.
Oh, I don't know.
54. There we go. We can
let's get a couple more stories.
A couple more in.
Squeeze them
Here
in.
we go.
Okay, because this one, dude. Oh, yeah, we got to do it.
You like this one, yeah?
Yeah, well, it's about North Korea.
Yeah.
I mean, I find North Korea's... Dude, I was I talking to you? No. I was talking to another guy who was visiting here, and he's been to North Korea.
Oh,
Dude, he knew the guy who went to prison and then died. The Otto guy.
oh, okay, all right.
He was like, yeah, I'd
where
met
was this
him.
dude from?
He was the guy I met. He's American, and yeah, he had met the guy like traveling who went to North Korea, stole the poster, and
Oh,
it
that
also
guy. Oh,
yeah,
God,
yeah,
wow,
and
okay.
then was in a coma and died when he got back to the States.
Damn.
Said he was a really nice guy,
But he was.
but I guess he's dead, so you got to say that.
No, yeah,
But
geez,
bit of
damn.
an idiot though, stealing that poster.
Yeah,
You're in North
it's
Korea.
one of those things. When you go to a country that is restricted by very strict rules, you follow those rules.
Yeah, follow those rules.
Follow the rules.
So I was talking, and he was like, yeah, North Korea is worth going to because it's just so bizarre. And he'd been to Pyongyang, and obviously it's like the capital. Or you can go to the DMZ, but is that really North Korea? I
Yeah.
mean, it is, but it's not like going to Pyongyang on like a proper tour.
No.
So he had gone there, and he was like, yeah, you could go. And I'm like, dude, you didn't understand the depth of my North Korea slamming on YouTube that I've done and the shit that I have talked about Kim Jong-un. I mean, I went to China. Did I tell you I went to China? And I went to the embassy to get my visa, and normally it's just like, hey, yeah, collect your visa or whatever.
Yeah.
It was very uncomfortable.
Oh, really?
Because they were like, what do you do? And then I wrote, I think, advertising
Okay.
on because normally I'll just write advertising on I got it from, do you know Rhett and Link?
No.
They're like a big podcast duo, and I think
Okay.
they went somewhere and they were like, somewhere, it was somewhere sketchy where being in the media wasn't great. So they just
Yeah.
wrote they were in advertising because technically, I mean, we are in it. Adverts pay my bills.
Yeah. Fair
And I was like, yeah, I'm in so I followed their example and wrote advertising.
May have
and,
saved your skin.
No. I had an interview with at the Chinese embassy, and they made me sign all these forms saying that I'm not going to like do any media stuff there.
Okay. Had you intended to?
Maybe no comments. No comments. Anyway, let's talk about North Korea. Well, let's talk about Australia first.
We're not starting with North Korea. Let's
Start in Australia, mate.
Australia. So we're starting.
Dude, Australia's coming up a lot today.
Yeah, well, it's a good life in Australia. So we're starting up in Townsville, Queensland,
NQ is Queensland.
North Queensland.
Oh, okay. I know nothing about it. Dude, whenever I watch Australian TV shows, because Netflix. You got Netflix?
Yeah.
You
Do I know Netflix?
No, I didn't mean do you know
Do I?
Netflix. I mean, do you have Netflix? And do you watch any Australian shows on Netflix?
Not really Aussie shows. No, what's on there?
Because they've come up in my recommendations, right? And I assume it's British or American because I feel like, the majority of, maybe Canadian, but then I can never tell. But Australian, I know they're not American. I know they're not British.
It's somewhere in between.
Dude.
Weird.
So you watch these and I've never been to Australia. You watch these Australian shows and I'm like, it's like a bizarro mix of America and Britain. Like, I feel in some ways it's big, so everything's quite far spaced out. Everything's quite new. There's big cars, big roads.
Yep.
But then the coppers, they look like British coppers, and they all speak funny. And
well, even their accents are sort of a mix. It's very strange. Like it's not like in New Zealand where everything's like fish and chips and they've got these funny words that they say. Like in Australian, because their media, it's all full of Ellen and they're like full of sort of Jimmy Fallon and that's their normal TV. So they have
Really?
American TV, all the time.
they didn't have like Australian late night? Because I feel like late night never, we in Britain, we have, I guess, Graham Norton. Is Graham Norton like our late night?
Not even late night, but
like that sort of thing.
That sort of thing, yeah. The sort of
like
talk
there's
show.
A band. I've never seen Graham, other than the clips
What?
I've seen the clips on YouTube.
He's the best of all of them. I will put my hand down now and say that I think Graham Norton is the best interviewer, one of them in the world.
He's good, and I like how they have the couple of people on the couch at the same time, so they get to interact as well. It's very clever.
And he just sort of you notice people like really relax with him. They really open up. Whereas on other shows, if you watch him, it's so awkward.
It's a little bit
like yeah, no, but
on pace. It's a little bit like practiced.
Yeah.
Australia. So they built this floating hotel, right? It's a picture of it here. It's really, really weird because when I was looking into this, I kind of imagine what we're looking at, people who are listening, is basically, it just looks like an apartment block that's been put on a barge.
Yeah.
And then a tennis court has been attached to it on like a pontoon. It's not great looking.
No, I thought that. I thought this is a really ugly building.
And then I was thinking, right, aren't cruise ships like this? And essentially they were just like, yeah, let's make something that's not a cruise ship, but it's like a floating hotel. And I'm like, well, that sounds like a bit of a shit idea. Turns out it was kind of a shit idea.
Wow, this was my very first thought when I looked at this. I thought, they get some big storms in Australia, really big storms.
Yeah.
And the last place I'd want to be during a big storm is on a boat in shark-infested waters, surrounded by things that can kill me. Where once I get to land and I've escaped said hotel, everything's gonna kill me on the land. So it's But what happened with this hotel? Let's see, it had a helipad.
Yeah, scroll down, and we'll see some more
nightclub,
pictures.
bars, tennis court, 50-seat underwater observatory. That's quite cool.
It's pretty cool.
I like that.
And then there was a storm. Like, I think it was just after this thing wanted to open. There was a storm that destroyed said cool underwater observatory. And all this, it got a bit ruined, and then they had to fix it, and then I can't remember. Did it actually open?
In Australia?
Yeah, I don't think it did, right? Because I know it went up to Vietnam, and then it actually became like a pretty hot spot.
So it held its opening ceremony in 1988. So I assume that it
but then it got ruined by the storm.
Yep.
Yeah, just as the champagne bottles were being cracked open, Mother Nature intervened. A tropical cyclone delayed the public opening, damaging multiple amenities, including the swimming pool, sinking the underwater observatory, and destroying the guest transfer shuttle boat. I feel like you could just get a new boat, though, couldn't you?
It's like that movie, Deep Blue Sea. Like there'll just be like sharks swimming around in the boat.
Yeah, it'd be pretty. Oh, dude, that Deep Blue Sea movie is terrible but great.
Terrible but great. It's one of those like one of the best shitty movies ever.
We're engineering sharks, so. Wait, didn't they have some mineral in their brain they needed?
yeah, exactly. Chip in the brain.
Yeah.
It's one of those amazing shitty movies.
No, it wasn't a chip in the brain. They wanted something from their brains, like some mineral, so they genetically engineered them to have bigger brains, so they'd be smarter and they could swim backwards. Yeah.
Jeez,
that was awful.
I think it belongs in that category of like. Did you ever watch Starship Troopers? That movie.
Oh, that was the first 18 I ever saw.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. I was like 11. And I felt so mature. And there were naked ladies.
Naked ladies, first boobies.
Yeah, didn't really understand that. I don't think I was even 11. I was at primary school. It was earlier. It closed within a year because it basically got ruined by that storm. And then they also found, like, under where it was anchored or whatever, loads of dumped World War II ammunition.
No.
Yeah, so they were like, oh, we shouldn't really do this anymore.
Maybe we shouldn't drop anchor here.
No, so they pick up anchor and they float it off. And I imagine, they don't say in the article how they moved it, but they must have attached it to some sort of barge or something.
Tows, I think, yeah.
Tow, not a barge, a tow. A tug.
A tug.
Tugboat.
Which are mega strong.
Dude,
mega strong.
Have you been to Bangkok? You've been everywhere.
Yes, I have been to Bangkok, yeah.
And you've seen them moving those trash barges down whatever the river's called.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just tiny little tugboats towing.
Like, the torque on those things is amazing.
Dude, it's crazy. And there's that. Did you see that video recently of that Ford truck towing a train or something? Like, just showing off its torque. Yeah. I mean, it's too much, Mark. Let's stick with this hotel.
Yeah.
And I feel like you must be the only person in the world who hasn't seen the Ford truck tow the.
Sorry, guys.
Maybe we can do it next week.
Oh.
So this flight, they floated off to Ho Chi Minh City, and they rechristen it the Saigon Floating Hotel, and it becomes an instant success for 10 years, and it goes pretty well. Saigon's a pretty interesting place. I feel like this would work well there.
Wow. Never been to Saigon.
Saigon's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely prefer it to. Everyone seems to prefer. What's that city? Hanoi, the capital city of Vietnam.
Yeah.
Much preferred Saigon. Anyway, or Ho Chi Minh City, as I probably should call it. Yeah. So it turns to this floating hotel. Then it just runs into financial difficulties. Now it gets interesting. It floats off again. And they open it up in North Korea, right on the DMZ. So, because obviously we talked about dividing Korea in a previous episode. What they basically did is they put it by, like, on the DMZ. So families from the north and the south who were separated when the country was separated can have somewhere to, like, come together and reunite and all of this stuff. And then basically some North Korean soldier ends up shooting one of these South Korean tourists at some point, and they close it. It kind of turns, it gets a bit rusty. Oh, yeah, scroll down. Zoom in on that picture.
Yeah, here we go. It's a picture of Mr. Un at the hotel.
Yeah, so you got, like, Kim Jong-un with his epic haircut as always.
He's a funny-looking man, isn't he?
He's a weird man. Anyway, the hotel in the background is kind of rusting. And even Kim Jong-un was like, this is kind of a piece of shit, guys.
I don't want this in my country. Get rid of this.
No, so it's just like floating out there. Kind of, and that...
It's quite sad. I think there's a lot of this sort of thing. These sort of old sort of hotels and amusement parks and things like that, which belong to that rusty age. And I just don't like them. I think
like in North Korea or just in general,
all over the world, like stuff left over from the 80s and the 70s, which was really cool at its time, at its peak, and then it kind of got old and crap.
Yeah.
And like we used to go to a swimming pool nearby me, and it turned.
Dude, I think this is. Sorry to interrupt. I think this is just of our age, and then so our stuff that's kind of crap to us is stuff from the 70s and 80s. And I think, the kids of today will be like the stuff from the 90s and early 2000s is kind of, because everything gets tired and old and bad.
Could be, but I think we are beginning to build things a bit better. Like I was gonna say, we used to go to the swimming pool when I was younger, and it turned out they had to close it because there was no earthing. So if it had been struck by lightning,
electricity?
Everyone would have been cooked inside the pool.
That's intense.
And it's this sort of thing. Like this thing was probably not Earth. Let's be honest. But
you mean this hotel?
This hotel. No earthing there.
I don't know. Anyway, they're going to demolish it. Like apparently, he's ordered its demolition.
Oh, okay. Is it it's still floating?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh.
Probably bring it up on Google Maps, like satellite view.
I
Should have
imagine.
looked into that, but I don't know where it is or anything. I think it says in the
There you
article.
go. Yeah. So the world's first floating hotel looks to be coming to the end of
and
its
if it's not a
odyssey.
sea.
I guess you could say they struggled to keep things afloat.
Bum. Well done on the comedy.
Oh.
Which website are we reading this on?
We are reading this on the Nessie Chick. Messy Nessie Chick.
Well, dude, I like that one.
That was good. I enjoyed
What's
it.
up next?
Right.
Did you? I think
I just
You've got one for me,
added
right?
a fun little fact to this. I don't know if you know this.
I call these on my other podcast quick facts
Quick facts. This
Yeah.
is a quick fact.
or bonus facts.
A bonus
sometimes.
fact. Do you know what the Colosseum's really called?
I do not know what the Colosseum's. I thought it was called the Colosseum.
Aha! Well, there you go. So the Colosseum, it's actually called the Flavian Amphitheatre, and it was only ever called the Colosseum because there was a colossal statue of Nero built right next to it, and this can be found on its Wikipedia page. Here we go.
Okay.
We'll just
Wait,
drop
the
down.
statue of Nero?
No, not the statue of Nero, but the reason that it was
Is that still around? Nero wasn't mad popular.
No, here you go. So, the Colosseum's original Latin name was Amphitheatrum Flavium, often anglicised as the Flavian Amphitheatre. The building was constructed by emperors of the Flavian dynasty following the reign of Nero. Here we go. So, if we just quickly jump forward, Romans may have referred to the Colosseum by the unofficial name Amphitheatrum Caesarum, but this name was strictly poetic. I'm lost as to where it was. Here we go. The name of Colosseum is believed to be derived from a colossal statue of Nero that once stood nearby.
How big's colossal? It doesn't say. If they knew, they'd say.
Pretty big.
Because it's been demolished.
Yeah.
And they replaced it several times with the heads of succeeding emperors. How lazy do you have to be? There's a big statue of Nero. They're like, new emperor, just chop off the old one's head and put a new.
Should we do the body? Nah.
Yeah, his body's the
Should we
same.
do the body? Nah.
They all got fat.
Like he'll be dead before we finish the body.
In my mind, Nero's fat.
I think he was plump.
Yeah, but then in my mind, Julius Caesar was not plump.
Is that artistic?
I don't know.
Is that-
And it's probably like,
Was that from films?
you know what was I was looking at the other, I think it's just from what,
That
Wikipedia
pop culture.
chooses as
Yeah.
their image.
I'm sure they all went through their fat stage, let's be honest.
What's interesting, I was looking up today, I was coming up with some new subjects for my biographics channel, and I was like, okay, so I looked up this great page, it was like 100 notable scientists or whatever, and so many of them, everyone's got young pictures. Everyone with a young picture is dead. Everyone with an old picture is alive, because as soon as you die, they don't choose your latest photograph, they choose your most flattering photograph. So, and I think it must be for Wikipedia as well. Like when someone dies, they're not going to have like at the 2012 Grammys, they're going to have, Prince in 1980.
Yeah.
They choose it, they swap it out, or someone does, which I thought was quite interesting.
That is interesting. It's true, and it's also, I think it's kind of partly that thing that like oh wait, you're talking even if people die when they're old, that they'll use a younger picture.
Oh yeah.
Oh okay.
Look up Prince.
Because I was
Bring up Prince's Wikipedia page.
Prince.
I'm betting it's not Prince at the 2014 Grammys or whatever. is going to be Prince looking good. See? It's Prince looking good. Now look up
good.
Chris Martin.
Poor old Chris.
I like Chris Martin. I'm thinking he's the credit to Chris Martin. He's the first person I thought of.
Well, and you think it'll be his most recent?
It'll be like 2015 or whatever.
2017.
Yep.
Right, you are.
See, and when Chris dies, in hopefully like, how old is he? 42, like 50 years.
They'll use this picture again.
They might use that picture again. But they're not going to use old, like, fat and saggy Chris Martin.
No, true. I think it partly belongs to that thing of like, have you ever noticed that like, it's quite exotic when people die young? Not exotic, but like people are remembered
live fast, die young.
Yeah, exactly. Live fast, die young. Who was the
Right.
guy? Who was the guy that flipped the car?
And died?
Yeah, and died. James Dean.
James Dean.
Yeah. Marilyn Monroe. They all these ones that didn't live to be
That's
old.
true. Yeah.
They're all sort of like exotic and
I'm going to kill myself at my peak.
It's not getting bigger
So
than
like
this.
dramatic crash or drug overdose or something. Got to first start driving a dangerous car. Second, got to get into drugs.
You know the worst part? He was stopped 20 minutes before he died.
He was?
He was given a ticket.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's like giving him a ticket, massively intoxicated. Carry on, sir. This has been an episode of the Simon Whistler Show. Sam, thank you for being here as always.
Pleasure.
It's a pleasure to talk to you. Well, you're here every week. I don't know why I'm thanking you.
Yeah.
It's like, but
It's part of the furniture.
it was it was good. I thought we covered some good ones. Hopefully that North Korea, that can be that's a good click, North Korea. And I like the hotel story. I feel sometimes I know a lot of the more interesting stories because all I do is make videos about interesting stuff all day. Never even heard of the floating hotel.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So much life to be spoken about.
What do we want people to do? I would like you to leave a review for this podcast, wherever you get it. It's not called iTunes anymore. Apple Podcasts.
Spotify.
You can't leave reviews on Spotify.
No reviews on Spotify.
Stitcher.
Acast.
Bcast. Cast. Whichever
Wherever
cast.
you get your pods.
Yeah. Qcast, whatever you're into. Leave a review there. Say hi to us at we don't have an email address.
Oh, we'll have to set one up and we'll share that ASAP.
Okay. Well, we can.
Should we admin it? Should we ad lib it now?
Hell yeah. swpodcast@gmail.com.
You'll be lucky. All right.
You think that's?
I think that's all right.
That's
I think that's all
available.
right. So,
if you email us there, and you don't get a reply, well, I didn't reply, or we didn't get that email. swpodcast@gmail.com. Say hi. Topic suggestion. It's so risky asking for that if people can submit stuff, but I feel it would be cool.
If you've come across an interesting story, we'd love to hear it.
Do it. Love is too strong. I would be not perturbed if you sent us a story.
I'd be thrilled.
So, Sam, thanks again. And we'll be back next week.
See you next week, guys.
And by next week, I mean later this week.
Later this week. Okay.
If our schedule is stuck to. See you later.